nice and tidy edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, then the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Hello, how are you guys? Happy Saturday. I thought we could do the binding with my cover stitch machine. So why not, right? We have plenty of time today. Probably be a short stream today, actually. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Aisha. Hi, Julie. How are you all? Happy weekend. Hi, Amy. How's it going? I think this is going really good. Here we go. It's our progress so far. And all we have right now are sewing the sleeves and the side seams. And that's not much, right? So I set up the cover stitch binder, and so I thought we could try and bind the sleeve hems and the jacket hem with this. So this is all my experiment. So it would look kind of like this, but the stitches will be more to the left over here. This is when I had it set up on narrow to the right, and then I switched it to narrow to the left. I switched it to wide, then I switched it to narrow to the left. So and then so it has the cover stitch look on the back, and then the double needle and clean fold on the top. So like this. I set this binder up a few months ago, so if you want to watch some troubleshooting and figure out solutions to lots of different things, we went through a lot of things for this one. I got this from like, what's it called? Erica Siskren, something like that. And I had a few troubles because of the screws. The binding attachment's really nice. So this is it, it's all set up. I have to prop it up on something. I feel like this is the one big drawback. It's not a big deal, but I have to set it up on something so that the binding stays level. So I have it on an antique iron and a box of buttons. And then this is a yarn ball holder, but I have the spindle off. So, hi Malin, how's it going? So I was thinking that I'm going to sew on this and then put my sleeve up to it. Like, I want to sew on fabric first as I get it going, and then go onto the garment itself, because it does tend to move around a little bit. This is kind of thick, so I have my pressure up here at the top of the machine there. I have it pretty light right here, so because it's thick. So yeah, all right, let's do it. Oh, I forgot my foot pedal is really far to the right here. Is this it? That's not it. Is it not plugged in? Oh, it's not turned on. I'm like, wait, I thought I plugged it in. There we go. I set it up over there. All right, there we go. What's that little loop of thread? You see that? What the heck is that? Look at that. There's a knot in my thread. Look at this. You see that? Look. It's not good. Why is it doing that? Thread issues are pretty hard to solve actually, because there's not a whole lot I can do, but gosh, it's so twisted up. Look at that. You're kidding me, right? Why are you all twisted up like this? What would twist it up? I'm gonna put a little more tension on it. I'm gonna have to watch that. I say hi, Margaret. I'll go in. Let's sew a little bit here. Let's see. I feel like my needle's really far to the left right now. Well, that looks pretty good though. All right, let's slip a sleeve in there. So I'm not going to bind in the round. When you're doing binding on any kind of edge where you're using attachment and you're going onto the binding or onto the garment, off the garment, you can't go in the round because, you know, basically, you know, when you came around to the other side, you know, like you would just be going onto your, you know, if this was a seam, right, you'd come around, you'd be going onto your binding, which is kind of thick. Some binders could probably do that, but not a home one. And then you'd still have this tail here. So I think the best way is to seam it and then top stitch it down like that. So you'll have a nice clean loop there. So there are obviously disadvantages sometimes to doing this. All right, the sleeve is like a big cape. Hi, Monica, how's it going? All right, so I feel like I'm using the wrong side as the right side, so I want to be consistent. We're going to put this sleeve right side up on my lap. This one right side up right here. This is just a scrap right here. I don't remember this being so high up here as well, so just going to feed it right in there. It's looking pretty good. It's looking really good. All right, so let's feed our other sleeve in here. Now I'm going to have to attach the two sleeves, sew up one side seam, and then do the hem. Hi, Terry. I got the cover stitch set up. That looks like the best I've ever gotten. That is nice. That is nice. Look at that. Ooh, it makes me so happy. All right, so let's cut these two sleeves apart. And now we'll put them on the garment. Okay, so now comes the, I think I'm gonna go like this. I'll set this here. I'll set you right there. I'll turn you off. I'm gonna swap my machine. I don't want to touch that camera cord either, because we know how it is. I have a new one in my cart. I'm going to order one today. I'm going to make sure, though, that my, it's not my camera not liking the USB port. This is how you get your core workout in. Here it is. Swap the serger. Hi Karen, how's it going? All right, so here's my garment. And we're gonna put the sleeves in flat because, well, we don't have to, but we're going to for one side seam anyway, so we'll just put them both in flat. Something you never see me do, right? So So let's see here. What's my right side? This is my back side. Look at that. It looks so good. Looks so good. All right. Put the sleeve in here. Was there actually a front and back sleeve? Do you think that's just like, I don't think I wouldn't have notched that like that. That's just a little hiccup with my cutting. All right. Let me just get closer. Can you guys see okay? Maybe I can angle it a little bit like this. Sew at an angle here. Ooh, it feels really weird to sew at that much of an angle, sorry. Okay, let's see, where's my shoulder there? Push this shoulder seam toward the back. It is really rare I set a sleeve in flat like this. It's really funny. Oh, it's a big shirt, you guys. It's a big shirt. It's definitely the fleece tabard. I can't help but think if I'd made it a little bit shorter, I'd have a little bit more to make me one. So I'm hoping I have enough. It's so long. You know? All right, so let's put this one here, like this. So when I'm doing curves like this, you can tell this curve goes up and this one goes down. I sort of just slide it down with my fingers like this and pull that edge. And then let it line up. Trying to keep the weight of the garment not pulling on the sewing machine or needle too. Sorry, I bumped my clip. Here it is. That's what's dresses are so great for just catching things like that. Still reminds me of that Huckleberry Finn story. All right, let's do our other sleeve, and then we'll do one side seam, bind the hem. Literally shortest stream ever to finish a garment. I told you I could have done this all in one. And, you know, I've been thinking, for the other two, maybe I'll do one with this sort of neck finish. So maybe we could do one more and see if we can make it a little faster. But I think I'm going to do the other one in a more approachable style, because I feel like people really want to sew these kinds of things. But I think that my way of sewing it is probably a little too much. I don't know. Maybe we can come up with a much more approachable way to sew it, but giving a nice finish. Oh, what was that? Oh, okay. Ooh, Lindsay. 25 hours. I hope you have a good flight. Oh, that's funny, Mullen. Has your daughter been visiting you then, Mullen? Or is it that your daughter that lives at home is going to Australia? Let's see here. Oof. Almost not matching. All right, so let's sew one underarm together. Look at this thing. Whew, that was big. There's a thread in my bobbin drawer that sneaks out, and then, you know, it grabs things, and it just, I can hear it unwinding. Let me just trim it. Gotta give that bobbin drawer a little bit of a haircut, you know? All right. Match up one underarm, and I'm gonna go from the hem. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do actually? When you're doing something like this where you're gonna go onto something kind of thick like this, I highly recommend not just pinning it, but sewing it first. So if you can line these up and keep them super stacked right on top of each other, and then sew this with your regular machine, because even doing that is gonna make it shift. You really have to keep it like one on top of the other. So I'm gonna tack this on my machine. Like this. And now you can just check it right now and see, you know, how does it match, right? And then we'll enclose this little tack stitch with our overlock. And I'm going to pre-trim this as well. That'll help my serger not fight so hard when it gets there. Yeah, we'll see if Lindsay's efforts will pay off. At least when you get here, Lindsay, like being awake in the daylight will help so much, right? It'll reinforce all that prep you did. Right. I put my little non-skid serger pad underneath this machine, so it's like a, not serger pad, but it's like a little foot holder for a sewing machine foot. So if you're sewing, your foot pedal skitters around underneath your machine all the time, you can get this thing, and it has you know, grabby nubs on the bottom, and a little carpeted top that you can even Velcro your foot pedal to. And I had it over here, but things don't really skitter as much over here. On this floor it does, so I slid it over here, but the pedals barely fit side by side in between my big machine pedal and the frame of the machine. It's an awkward angle. Good progress on your shirt sewing. Nice. Oh, it's the daughter that lives at home. Okay, cool. So what's your daughter going to Australia for? What are they visiting someone? I know you have family there. All right. All right, so here we are at the underarm, and I think I'm going to offset these thicknesses. It'll help the seam line up too, but it'll also help the transition. I lift up my foot pedal to get on top of it. It's kind of like a built-in hump jumper. There we go. And then this is already sewn together, right? Right there. Incidentally, when you pre-tack this, try and tack it close to your seam line. If you do it right at the raw edge, you can sew this serger seam and make it off, the seam off. Because it's just too far away from your tacked edge. All right, here we are. Leave a tail. Leave a tail on this one. All right. Will the taxi be on time? Oh my gosh, I have one of those harrowing taxi stories when we left from Belgium to come home. I'm going to switch to my cover stitch now. And so this is kind of a strange thing, but it's kind of political. My daughter was 14 months old at the time. This is a long time ago. It was 20 years ago. And I was using a big frame backpack and to carry her around in the town. We didn't bring our stroller because there was a lot of cobblestone streets, and American strollers just aren't meant. A lot of American strollers aren't really meant for those cobblestone streets. And my frame backpack, I know you're like, how is this political and involving a taxi with your backpack? But on my backpack, it had just been an election like 4 months before, a presidential election here. And I had a sticker on my backpack that said, I voted, with an American flag. It's very common here in the United States. You get a sticker when you vote, and it has a little American flag, and it says, I voted. That's all. That's it. That's all it says. So me and my friend Nicole, who passed away last year from breast cancer, for a relapse of breast cancer, really dear friend, she went with us to help me with cricket because my husband was having a surgery. He was having a hip resurfacing done. So it was already kind of like a really keyed up trip, right? And at the time too, cricket was completely gluten intolerant, and we were going to Belgium where I don't speak Flemish and my husband doesn't speak Flemish. He speaks a lot. He speaks German fluently and languages that are similar very well. He can understand them, but he wasn't with us either. So I couldn't like read instruction, ingredients. So it was like a very big trip, Well, people were constantly slightly rude to me and Nicole. And we couldn't figure it out for the longest time. And then we realized it was my I voted sticker on my backpack, because a lot of Europeans were extremely unhappy with our election here and the results of it. I'll just say that I didn't vote for the person who had won, and Europeans didn't like who had won, and they just equated with the fact that I said I voted, that I voted for the person who won, okay? So, so we were constantly just kind of like, people would be initially happy that, we were visiting their country or whatever, nice, and then slowly get rude. And we just couldn't figure it out. It took us forever. We actually connected with this Czech woman whose husband was American, and we were in Ghent, Belgium. They were living in Ghent. And she was super friendly and chatty at the playground. We had cricket at the playground. And we were talking with her. She spoke English, thankfully, because we didn't speak Czech or Flemish. She keyed in on it. She was like, oh, okay, I know what's going on here. We kind of said this, and we were like, do you think it could be this? And they were like, she was like, oh yeah, 100%, right? So that helped us confirm our suspicions. All right, so on our last day there, Michael was staying. He had to do 2 more weeks of physical therapy. But his surgery was amazing, and he was up and walking or whatever. So we had to leave him. This is the flight, by the way, that I told you that I gave my own kid food poisoning, because when we started in Belgium at 5 in the morning, we had made fresh macaroni and cheese the night before. We put it in a container for the ride home, gluten-free mac cheese. And it spoiled. The flights had gone so badly and so long that it spoiled. It just feels like the same day to you. You woke up that morning and you're still going, and it feels like it's the same day. You don't realize that the food hasn't been refrigerated for a really long time. So I gave my daughter food poisoning on that trip too. So when the taxi came to pick us up, we were in this really interesting basement apartment flat, but the street dead-ended at the end right in front of the flat. And then it continued on the other side of a sidewalk and dead-ended there. So you couldn't go through. There was bollards there, so they couldn't go all the way through. So we get in the car, and he gets there right on time to get us to there. This is the worst part. This wasn't even a direct taxi to the airport. This was a taxi to the train station, and then we had to catch a train and go to the airport. It was this multi-layered thing. And the guy was nice, and then as he loaded our stuff up, he changed. And he started taking the longest route there. We knew the streets well enough to know, and we were going to miss our train, and it was really, we had no other options. This is, by the way, before iPhones, before smartphones, before all of that stuff, right? So you're just literally just imagine going through the world without those things, right? And let alone traveling with a small child. So my friend is sitting in the front seat, and me and Cricket are in the back in the car seat. And we started keying, and me and Nicole gave each other the look. We were just like, we know what's happening here. We start chatting this person up, saying it's being really nice, and then we wind the conversation quickly around the elections, and we were like, oh yeah, we didn't vote for that guy. And all of a sudden, he stepped on the gas, and we got to the train. We literally got onto our train while the doors were closing. It was so stressful. So I know that stress of waiting for a taxi. And ever since that trip, I've just been like, why? Why does this have to affect me, right? You know, so, oh, yeah. Oh, you went to Canada. See, that, there was a, oh, yeah. Yeah, Jim. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Jen. Yeah, so, yeah, well, it's, yeah, whatever, Mullen. I mean, it's just, I don't really want to get into politics, but I hated that kind of stress, this kind of stress where you have literally no control over anything. You're at the mercy of somebody, and it's not enough that you're like two young women traveling with a 14-month-old. They don't speak the language, and you just want to go home, right? That's just not enough for someone, you know? So, yeah. All right, wait. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to do the bottom of this. Okay. So, man, such an interesting time, you know? All right, I'm going to even up this edge here because we're going to bind this edge here. So, there was a strat for years, Jim, where Americans were putting Canadian flags on all of their luggage and everything when they traveled because of stories like that. The best Aunt Tessie story. Yeah, we thought we were early, Amy. We really were. I mean, it was kind of one of those things where it was there's too many moving parts. You know what I mean? Too many moving parts. And if just one broke down, you know, and I remember that's what it was that, remember I was telling you about the dead-end streets. There's a reason for that. When the taxi came, he got confused. He couldn't figure out how to get to our place because it's not like he had like a smartphone. He had GPS, and GPS at the time was a little different. Like GPS things, people hardly even have GPS things in their car anymore. And he couldn't figure out how to get to us. And then like when we saw him, we were like, oh, that might be our taxi over there. And we have all this stuff. And we're like, hey, it's us, you know. And then he had already driven away to try and get to us another way. So it just added like so much. So what is the difference between cover stitch and interlock? And I'm planning to make an underwear. Which one did you text me? Oh, hello, welcome. Ready yet? Is that how you say your name? Ready yet? You mean cover stitch or overlock? Okay, there's a really big difference. I really don't think you need a cover stitch. I think a cover stitch, which is this machine here, is sort of like the icing on the cake, you know, like the cherry on top. You don't really have to have this. The serger or the overlock, that's the same exact thing. That's more useful if you're going to be doing a lot of sewing of knits and stretchy things. So right now I'm using the cover stitch to add binding, which looks like this right here, which is also kind of extra. Like it's a kind of a extra little thing I can do with this machine, and it doesn't come with this. I had to buy this somewhere else. Usually a cover stitch machine is going to hem things. I don't have an example nearby. So if you were to buy a t-shirt here, just a regular old stretchy t-shirt here, and you looked at the hem of the sleeves and the bottom, you see that on the top it has two rows of parallel stitching, and on the back it looks a little bit like this, all this thread here. I don't know if you can see that very good. There's a lot of little rows of thread, and it has these two rows of top stitching there. Well, that would be on the fabric, so they would just turn under the fabric and then hem it, and that's what this machine does. All it does is hem things. That's it. It hems things, or it finishes like a rib neckline or underwear on elastic, things like that. So if you want to sew underwear, I think you don't have to have either one of these machines. You can completely do it with, as long as you have like a zigzag or a straight stitch. But if you're going to opt to buy one of the machines, I would get the serger or the overlock, which is the one I'm going to use in just a second after I put this hem on, or this binding on. So, and as far as patterns go, there's a ton of free patterns out there. I'll let everyone in the chat tell you their favorite underwear patterns, because I just copied a pair I loved. I just traced around them and used those. And I have, if you look on my channel and you search for underwear sewing, there's quite a few videos. A few of them are live streams like this one, so it's really long. Some of them I sit there and just experiment with how to sew, the best way to sew the elastic to keep it stretchy. And sometimes it's just like a tutorial on how to sew them. So, yeah, right, Jim? Exactly. Yeah, I get it. All right, so we're gonna, I kind of want to start binding on something. Do I have an edge down here of something? I'm gonna cut this off here. This is what I decided when I was kind of setting up the machine. I was like, you know, if I could start sewing and make sure it's on track before I get it on my garment, I think that's kind of key. It uses more of the binding, but then I also get better results, right? Are we good? We good? Looks like we're good. All right. All right, so now I'm going to put my shirt in here, right side up. I'm really going through the rib binding on this project. Thank goodness you don't have bobbin threads to worry about, but oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. Eek. Hi, Eliza, how's it going? Oh, good. Straight machine makes the elastic more rigid. It stops becoming, yeah. You need to stretch the elastic while you sew it on. So when you take your piece of elastic and sew it to the fabric, stretch the elastic, hold it like that. Don't pull it while the needle is in the elastic, because you can break your needle or bend your needle, which is even worse because you can break your machine. So stretch the elastic, hold it, and then sew with your machine, and then let go, and it'll go whoop, and it will be stretchy still. And you won't pop the stitches. Oh yeah, no problem. I can give you I'll give you guys a little, I'll show you what the cover stitch does in just a second. Besides this. Yeah, I really feel like cover stitches are nice, but they're not necessary. All right, I'm going over a seam. This is why I picked this particular cover stitch, because it doesn't mind thicknesses so much. It's not that it doesn't mind thicknesses, it doesn't mind changing from thin to thick. That's kind of the key. Oops. I'm a little far away now though. It's a lot slower than my old binding attachment. We're almost there. But I'm kind of far away from the edge, which I don't really like. I can push it a little bit and get it back on track. Safe travels, Lindsay. I got a little far away from the edge, look. It's kind of a bummer. This is the back side, and it happened right when I went over my thickness. See that difference? So there, I'm right along the edge here, and then as I go over the thickness, I get farther away. So, all right, yeah, right, Mullen, I agree. Yeah, I think like it's definitely the cherry, or whatever you like on top of your sundae. I like roasted peanuts or almonds. Okay, so let's take out this. I'm going to take off this binding attachment now, and I'll show you really like what this usually does. is all I have left in my little binding. Okay, so take these off. Let me go get a piece of, oh wait, this, was this long? This might be, let me go get a piece of fabric because it'll show you better what it's doing. I could do it on fleece still. Let me see if I have just a piece of, here we go, this will work. Something so that'll be more visible. All right. So I'm going to sew on the fleece first. So a cover stitch is basically a fancy hemmer, right? The funny thing about a cover stitch is that you have to sew it sort of blind. So you're going to fold your hem, right? And then that folded edge goes down and you sew from the top side. So when you're sewing something that you can iron first and you're kind of getting the hang of this, you can iron it in place and then maybe even like give yourself a little guideline and it'll help. Okay, in this particular cover stitch, I have to lock the stitch at the end, doing a little whoop-de-doo there. All right, so then you see that I have those two individual rows of stitching, and then on the underside, see, look, I didn't get my edge lined up, so it should enclose this cut edge more like it did on the binding. See how my not serging, but the cover stitch on the back encloses the cut edge of the rib, so the rib was right here, and these gray threads are covering it up, right? So let's try and do it on this piece of just a cotton sheet here. Let's give me a straighter edge though. I didn't iron this. I just pulled it out of my trash bin, my fabric bin. All right, so I'm gonna give myself, still did not cut that very straight. Oh man. It really makes a difference if your line is straight. But what's really going on here is that it's not on grain. I can tell. So we're gonna do that. Oh, that's might be worse. Let's see. So, all right, so I'm just gonna finger press this here, right? You still have to do it right side up, right? But now this time I can actually see my fold edge there. I know you probably can't see it, it's really bright, but see that here's my little fold edge right there. And I can kind of see it on the top because the fabric is transparent enough. Oh, but I have this set up for really thick fabric, so I'm gonna crank this down quite a bit here. I may not have my tension right. See, yeah, my tension's not great, but you get the idea. So people will use this in sewing elastic by put like on the edge of underwear, the fold over elastic, or picot. They will overlock the elastic to the edge, and then like once they have their elastic, oh, can I even, let me see if I can, or even just like this ribbing, right? They would overlock the ribbing, to the edge, right? They would put or elastic, whatever, right? They'd sew this right here, and then they would turn it like this, leaving the elastic to poke out from the edge, or ribbing like this. And then they would use this cover stitch to stitch along here as well. You can do that. Or fold over elastic, like say this is a fold over piece of elastic where both edges are finished, right? And you would wrap it around the edge right here. You can use that to attach on cover stitch. And so, it looks more like that. See, I have some skip stitches back there in the beginning there. But this is a cover stitch. Any kind of like hemming type of finishing edge, not necessary for sewing. And most anything you see me sew on my channel, I don't use either of these machines for any of my projects. So, all right. Hi, Suzanne. How's it going? All right. It's a rainy day, huh? Hi, Anna. How's it going? Nice to see you. All right, time for the core workout. So this is the serger, the overlock. You'll get a lot more use out of this, especially if you kind of get into just using it. But you can't just use one of these to sew things. At the end of the day, you have to have a regular sewing machine of some sort. Oh, nice. I love that store. That's fun. I can't wait to see what you get. They always have such interesting things there. All right, so our last seam, and then we're going to do a couple of little finishes on, you know how when I overlocked the end of my sleeve? I am lost in this thing. Okay, good. Here we go. So remember how I did this right here? I'm going to show you a little way to finish this that makes it really good. So, all right. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're doing our last underarm seam for this pullover here. It's like finding a needle in a blanket. See, look at my bobbin, like a thread. It's not one, it's another. They get caught and then they grab the fleece and they just pull. All right. So on this one here, I'm going to do the same for both ends. I'm going to tack it with my sewing machine first, so I make sure that I'm stacking that folded edge right on top of itself. So we'll tack it together here. I've only been to the one south of Portland. Is that Beaverton? I won't really probably get back up there again now that Cricket's not living up in Oregon anymore. Okay, so that one I didn't tack all the way. I just tacked in it. I got it almost good. This side might even be a little wider than that. If you're gonna have to choose, like say this side is wider than this side. You're like, great, now what do I do? There's a couple of things you can do. One of the things you can do is cheat and like take a little like tuck on the underside and just like take a little tuck and then make that side narrower and then sew it together, right? If I'm going to pick which matches, if it's not very far off, I'll match the seam because I can make this edge match when I do my last little stitch I'm going to show you how to do. But if I had to choose only one and I couldn't fix it, I would choose the end. I think the end matching right here is less noticeable than this, but that's just me. If this was a high contrast, like color difference, maybe I would do it there. So there's a lot of little things that can come up, right? All right, we're going to do the waist as well here because now we have two that are ready to go. See, like this one it's a little narrower than one side. So I'm going to match the seam, the folded edge. Can I get that? Not too bad, but look at my stitching isn't really matching there. Milwaukee. Isn't there only two? Oh, so maybe the one I went to was in Pendleton. Oh no, not in Pendleton, Milland. Anyway. 2 hours. Time to just ditch them. All right, let's trim this so that they're flush so my machine has to work less. Oh, look at that. It's not at all. I can't even see. Look at that. It's pretty far away. Let's just take this one out and re-sew it. Sometimes the edge of the ribbing tricks me into thinking that's where the edge of the fabric is, but it wasn't. So we can trim this off first. Come on. And now we'll put these up together. Like this. And now we'll get it more accurate, I think. When I have to do these too, by the way, like when you have to sew these together, like even if you're doing something else, start on the thicker end Don't start right here and then go up to this. It'll push one off. So start here, smash it down. And even if you have to go backwards first and then forward, it will help keep it lined up better. There is a Milwaukee, Oregon. Yep. Hi, Ray. How's it going? Exactly. Right, Eliza? We would not do that to you. See you, Sydney. Have fun. Okay. We're gonna start from the hem and go toward the sleeve. Again, I just lift my presser foot up there. Still closer. Sorry, my hand's a little in the way. Come on, start sewing. My foot is just too far away from this. There we go. I couldn't depress the far end of it. All right, and I'm gonna, again, offset these underarm seams. Ooh, sorry. My presser foot just came down. It scared me. Did you? Right. Milland is like they don't have a website, but there's two of them in Oregon, and they sell sort of like discounted fabric, but it's a lot of times like dead stock. So they're getting things from like mills, like the ends of bolts and things like that, and the end of a production run or whatever. They definitely do buy stuff too, like interfacings and other things you need to complete your project. They also have a sewing machine center. At least the one I went to did. And it's also not like a beautiful store. It's just like a very simple warehouse almost vibe that keeps the price down. But I've gotten some of my nicest fabrics for projects, like my Auburn blazer. I got all that there. So I'm gonna try and... All right, leave a tail. Remember, always leave a tail. All right, so our last little step here is we're going to tuck this tail and top stitch this bulk down. So I'm looking for the back of my garment here. So here's the back, right? And here's my sleeve. And let's just, maybe we can swap cameras so you can be on the usual camera. But we're gonna have to risk making this camera mad for a second. Did I already make it mad? Yeah, I did. Gosh. I promise I'm ordering a new cord. It's just something about the plug of this cord here, this right here. When it goes in here, it's wiggly. That's the problem. It's like a $60 cord, by the way. That's why I'm not just like, oh, I'll just buy another one. I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what the problem was before I did. And now I just need to make sure that it's not my camera cord going in, which was never a problem before until I got this cord. So, oh, thanks, Karen. Yeah, you go through it though, like it's definitely connected. So, all right, if you get motion sickness, don't look for a second. I feel like all the stuff that I have learned since streaming is, it's useful, but for like one specific thing, right? Will it ever be useful in my lifetime again, I wonder? Can I just teach how to do that since I've spent so much time figuring it out? Here's my prop for my binding roll. Binding attachment over there. It is very clear that people who use my software use it for gaming and not for how-to tutorials. They don't have to adjust their cameras as many times as I do for lighting and things. Oh, that's interesting. And I understand. No. No, it is the classic thing. Like, I have hired people, like when I've encountered really strange things I couldn't figure it out. When I would Google it, I couldn't figure it out. Like, I did everything I could. I have hired people that are in the streaming community, the gaming streaming community. I've hired people who, like, one of them is the largest streaming service. They even host, like, This American Life, and my friend partially owns that. I have hired 3 different people to come and help me, and none of them knew nearly as much as I did. So what I have found with this is that the information is really specific to what you're doing, and people don't know as much as they think they do. They may be a specialist in knowing what kind of computer you need to own and all the hardware, like a gear nerd. They may be into camera and lighting. They may be into sound. They may be into just using the software. But using all those things as one person, no. Like one guy, I really regretted, the guy that I hired that was like my friend's husband who owned this like streaming, big streaming thing. I won't mention any names about it. I was really disappointed because he was so arrogant. And I ended up sending him a thank you package, which was like a lot of money of stuff like that they wanted, like from where my husband worked, they had a good product that people wanted. And he never even thanked me for that. And he, by the way, did not help me one bit. Nothing he told me to do helped me. Nothing. Like it was a waste of my time. Same with this other guy. I've had other people, like delivery people, who've come in and to deliver something, and they see my thing and they're like, whoa, what do you do? And I tell them, and they're like one guy was like, that's a nice rig, you know, like, because I have a whole rig that we built. And you can tell he knew more than all those people. So no one's going to hire me because of what I look like and how old I am, Anna, for that. But I know more than some of them. The only person that's ever really helped me was this young guy who I don't even know his name because they only knew his gamer tag. And he didn't fix it. He knew so many things to try, though. And then I ended up fixing it, and it was just, I think, luck. So he was helpful, though. So I don't know. I don't think so. Not to mention, anybody I do try and help, they're just like, you don't know what you're talking about. So, but I've helped people live on their streams, new streamers. I've been in Twitch, and I've seen what they're doing. I'm like, hey, just do this. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm like, yep. But I'm not doing that as so-so. I'm doing that as my other thing. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh, okay. Is this Fleece for Michael? This is for a donation to the Pine Ridge Reservation. A viewer, one of you guys, made a big donation on my website for this project. So we're doing fleece sweatshirts this month. So I'm sorry, I got really off track and talked to you all about that. Anyway, all right, so this little thing, I've totally lost you. I should have showed you before I bored you because I really love sharing this tip because it's definitely something you see in the garment industry. Like, this is what you do in manufacturing. All right, here's my fleece. This is inside out, and this is the front, right? So this is the front of my sleeve. This is the back of my sleeve. So I'm going to take this little tail and I'm going to pull it to the back side here like that. Unfortunately, my little serger tail is a little loose right there. Let's see if we can just pull these threads over like this. All right, we're going to be very firm about this. You can tack it in the seam allowance now if you want, or hold it, and we're going to push it over like this very firmly. And now, while it's pushed that way, I'm going to sew right here in just the width of the binding. And I actually like doing this going toward the end like this, because so what I don't like is when this little edge right here, I'm going to brighten this up and zoom it in. Thanks, Anna. Yeah, I mean, it would be fun, but yeah. I think that what I really hate is marketing. just want people to be like, hey, will you help me with this? And can I pay you? And be like, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. There, that's a little better, huh? Zoom in a little bit more. We'll up the sharpness even though. Can I please grab that little, the slider is so tiny to grab. Okay, so here we go. So we have the tail tucked in here. We can shorten it right now if we want. Let's just shorten it a little bit. Oh my gosh, there we go. Shorten it, shove it deep in there, pull it firm, pull it over, and now I'm gonna sew just inside the rib width right here toward me, and that's so that I can control this little edge not poking past it. And I'll use my awl. This hem circumference, you guys, it seems kind of small. All right, so that little tail is sticking out right now. You probably can't tell because of the dark gray, but we're gonna fix it in a second. We're just gonna get our sewing legs under us, right? Just sew a little bit. Now we're in control. The machine's holding it. I'm gonna take my awl. I'm gonna push this little guy in here. I'm gonna go one needle off and then go back. And then it's gonna flatten this whole little area here, make it more comfortable on the person and secure all this mess, right? So if you ever have to sew a cuff all the way through, like this, all the way through the bottom, look at how small this opening is. It's an extra large. Anyway, all right, here's the other one. So this is my front, this is my back. Pull the tail really firmly. Firm. Don't do this because what'll happen is that these little edges will just like fall out the edge. You can even pull on this. Pull. Pull! Push it over. Hold it firmly. Go. This is why sometimes you might want to pre-trim that, but I like having something to hold on to, and I trim my little threads that from starting the sewing right here. I have a little bit of raw of the rib poking out between the serging stitches, but it's nice and clean and finished. Now we just have one on the waist to do down here. So this is the front and this is the back. Oh, and there's my pre-tack right there, is way over here. So I'm going to have to take that out. I guess I didn't make it all the way to the full seam allowance, or my tacked edge there was outside of the seam allowance, which is more likely. I'll keep doing it. Yeah, hopefully. All if they're too wide at the bottom of the sleeve. Oh, they're too wide? Okay, well then maybe. The wrist isn't changed that much, but you know. Let's get rid of these little threads. Okay, so we have our tail. I'm going to give it a nice good tug. Cut off a little bit here. These scissors need to be either replaced or sharpened because my little, I keep tapping it, it grabs one thread. I'm going to put this right side up. And then make sure it goes this way. Pull it in there. I really sink it in there. Could probably shorten it a little bit more right now. Dang, this is the problem. You start shortening it and they need to get shorter and shorter to deal with the threads. And my thread, because I used the Tack 40 weight, which is, oh God, you don't want that to happen either. My feed dogs just grabbed that. You see that? So if you have that problem, my feed dogs are really sharp. But my thread is kind of thicker than most thread. So it does this little thing where it goes boing, you know, like unruly hair. Trying to find the one that'll tighten this up, cinch it up, but none of these are. Oof, fussy. I may have to go back over it. All right, I'm gonna hold it before I lay it down on the feed dog. There we go. I really committed to that back stitch. Hopefully it was in the right spot. All right. Now this one little thread right here, I'll get rid of. All right, and then that's nice and flat too. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I really hate it when that happens too, Julie. It happens. It happens. This gives it a nice little gentle pull in here. I think that'll be good. It's a big boy. I don't even know if I could try this on Michael just for a photo. I'm bigger than Michael. Maybe I'll try it on. Okay, let me zoom out. Dang, we're already done for the day. I might just take advantage of that. I'm really working hard on this fitting series. I can't tell you how much work it's been. All right. Boo, 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 boo. So cute. Love the color. Got our sleeve here. Looks nice. See, look at that. Nice continuous circle. See how it feels. It is really cozy. 200 weight. I'm gonna put my arm through here. I would like this. So maybe do I would fit. Have you ever, I've never finished this fast, I know. Told you I could have done it all in one the other day if I hadn't done the binding, but the binding adds a nice touch, don't you think? That looks professional. Here's the waist right here. Yeah, I think that turned out really nice. Okay, so I'm making 2 more of these. I hate to not do this because it looks so good, but maybe we could do, I'm doing a different pattern too. I'm doing the Wardrobe by Me half zip sweater for women. She has a men's version too, and her sewing tutorials will always work for men or women version of her things. I think I did the sewing tutorial for that. I don't remember. I think it was that one. Pretty sure it was that one. Yeah. So I'm going to do a women's version and a child's version. And I'm just going to do the smallest size of the pattern to do the child's version. And I'm trying to think of maybe I could do the way she does the zipper. Hers is a little cleaner than the way that 5 out of 4 has you do it. This is not the way 5 out of 4 has you do it. I changed the pattern. And I added the zipper guard and the binding. I added a lot. But I'm going to think about a way to do this so that you still get a really nice finish. And it's not so much, I know this was a lot, right? It was all doable, but it's a lot. I like this protection here, against, especially on a child. Children don't complain about things, or they do. It's like one or the other, right? So sometimes, you know, these little things will be scratching them and they just don't really think to complain, you know, and we want them to be cozy and warm. So cool. All right. Well, you guys going to let me go then today? I can't believe it. It feels so weird. Thanks to this viewer for this project. It's really fun. So good. I'm going to have to calibrate the cameras for the other fabric. The other fabric's a lot lighter. I'm going to try it on. What if it fits me really good? Except the fact that it's going to be down to my thighs. I love the zip guard too. That's actually not hard to sew either. Take the microphone off. No, no, 1 cheeseburger per week is more cheeseburger than I need. It was really good, by the way. It was a new place. It was really good. Oh, this feels good to me. I mean, it fits like a men's would. It's too long, but I would actually really like the way this fits. Look how long it is. I want pockets. Do you really think this is an extra large man? Right, Anna? I don't know. The pattern does come with pockets, just so you know. I skipped them because I don't think the finish was right for this jacket. Definitely needs pockets. See, these don't usually have pockets though. Like if you were to buy one. And when people put the pockets on, they're so, like in home sewing, they're so chunky. You know what I mean? They're so chunky. So if I would have probably had some good, like maybe a good pocket lining that would have gone with this. Like maybe the kind I used in the other one I made. Yeah, maybe. Yes, you can. Ready it? You can use an overlock thread on a normal serger or singer. I mean, yeah, for the most part, yeah, you can. I don't know, do men do kangaroo pockets? This is another thing I see with a lot of men's patterns. I feel like there's elements added to them that they wouldn't normally. They do, Shem? There is no way my husband would use a kangaroo pocket. So maybe that's just a personal thing? You mean your zippered hoodie or your pullover hoodie? A pullover hoodie is different than a fleece. You see pockets on these. They're usually like a zippered pocket. Yeah, but they're not kangaroo. When you guys say hoodie, do you guys mean pullover or zipper? I know zipper hoodies do. I'm not putting a kangaroo pocket on this. I don't think I'm going to. I'll think about it, but I'm not going to do it. You do them for yourself. Okay. Both. Okay. Well, I'll think about it, but the pattern that came with this one was, I think, a side seam pocket, and it's the same with the wardrobe by me, and I feel like it's just too, yeah, I know, pullover has a kangaroo. I just didn't know what kind you guys were meaning. I was like, well, I know most people call a zippered hoodie a hoodie, but I always think of a pullover as a hoodie and a zipper as a zippered one. Yeah. Inseam zipper pocket. Yeah, so I need different fabric for a pocket that sits behind the garment. Otherwise it's too bulky. I could see putting a kangaroo on this right in the front, maybe. But if this was a guy and it was just like straight down, it's not a pullover sweatshirt. It's a slimmer fit fleece. Usually this style, if you were to go and buy it, it has a zippered pocket right here. Yeah, it's usually right here, Shem, if they put it. It's literally worked for people doing these things. So I agree it needs a pocket of some sort. I didn't want to add this one up here. I just was a little bit nervous because I didn't buy a zipper for it. And I don't think I have one that matches the same one as this. Yeah. I'm not adding one. I'm not taking a chance, not with this upper, because I don't have a zipper. I have zippers, but I don't have this color. I bought this zipper when I bought the fabric, but I'll consider a kangaroo pocket. I just don't think that this silhouette usually has a kangaroo pocket, because it's not a, So a kangaroo pocket is usually on something that's blousey, right? So it has a rib waistband, and so there's some blouse, and so then you have room for your hands in there. On a slimmer fitting fleece like this, like the half zips or quarter zips, they don't have the kangaroo style, because it'd literally be like you were doing this. It's because it's not like a blousey thing to rest your hands in. So yeah. Yeah, it's just, I just want to keep in the spirit of making it look ready to wear. So, you know, because I feel like when you're home making something for a stranger, they're going to be like, oh, this is homemade. I want it to look as store-bought as possible so they don't have to tell people that. Yeah, I don't really like side seam pockets. They're so far apart. They're so far away in the back. You know, you're always looking for them. You're doing this. We'll definitely put one on the kids, okay? And then I'll think about it for the women's, but I'm not doing it the way the pattern has it. You know what I mean? If I were to do a pocket on this, I would have added it here. I think that would have looked slick. And we did do that on, what was that? We did it on there. It turned out really good. But then you have this pocket lining that's loose back here, right? So you have to think about how it's going to be on the inside. So you have to have the right fabric. And I don't have that kind of nylon fabric that usually you see on these kinds of things. So I just didn't want to take a chance and make it look home. So yeah, and kids love pockets, yeah. We got to add one to the kids. Plus it's a cute print. It's got the little snowflake all over it, so. Well, I better take this off. This is someone else's jacket, and that's weird. Right? We don't want to impart any long pieces of hair or something weird like that. I'm going to check it over really good. But that was hot to wear. Oof, looks good. Bugs and turtles. Or snacks. Gosh, kids today, they have phones in those pockets. All right, I will see you guys for a live stream in a little over a week and a half for doing both the women's and children's version. And you'll be able to use those techniques on men as well, on a men's shirt. And then I know I keep saying watch for my fitting series, but it really is coming. I keep doing it. I've recorded so many videos for it, and then I'm like, nope. I get to the editing, and I'm like, nope, this isn't what I want to do, and I record them all again. So I kind of want to, what I think what I'm going to do is finish the PDF guide, and then release some videos so that I can keep going with the videos, because I don't want to release videos without my PDF guide. So, all right. Hi, Curtis. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Have a great weekend, you guys. I'll see you guys soon.